That kind of makes it's an even thing. Let's go into this Derrick James versus Errol Spence situation. A few tweets by Chris Mannix, who we do not like. He's not a friend of the show. He's horrible for the sport, and we fucking despise him.
We are sick of Chris Mannix. Chris Mannix, he's not a friend of the show. He has never spoken to me once at any of these events. So fuck you, Mannix. Until I see you, and then maybe we're gonna be nice.
Or guess what? If I see you, I'm gonna crack your jaw. If I see you, I'm gonna crack your jaw. If I see you, I'm gonna crack your jaw. Yeah. So we got some tweets by Chris Mannix here. We fucking hate him, but we're gonna pull these tweets up because he's gay. And we're going to check this out. I'm going to read some of these things off here. This is from Chris Mannix over at X. They said the libs used to say, you don't like Twitter? You don't like that they're banning you and Donagh? Make your own Twitter. That used to be the response. Okay, we made it. It's called X now. Okay, so you can find Chris Mannix on X. But the tweet goes like this. Some details from the Errol Spence Derrick James court battle. Okay, the dispute boils down to Spence believing he owes James 10% of his guarantees on fight night, and James believing he is entitled to 10% of whatever Spence makes overall. Spence and James both acknowledged that Spence paid James $350,000 in the aftermath of Spence's loss to Terrence Crawford. James claims Spence made $25 million to fight Crawford, and James wants 10% of it, or $2.5 million. He goes on to say Spence and James have been operating under an oral agreement since James turned pro in 2012. In other words, no paperwork. When James confronted Spence about money last February, James says Spence told him, "You ain't getting shit, nigga." He said, James says Spence told him he is not entitled to 10% of his total guaranteed purse. Further, James claimed Spence told him someone named Al said that paying James $350,000 was generous. So you get what you get and you don't get fucking upset. It's basically what he says. James claims that in a phone call, Spence admitted that he did rob James of his full payment and agreed to pay the $2.15 million James believes he is owed. According to James, he ain't never fucking goddamn did. And I think... is that it? Yeah, that's the end of it. So, what say you, man? I've got a feel. I've had this feeling about this, but MMA is more your racket. Are there stories of this in this MMA? Do these kinds of things happen?
Yeah, I mean, in any of these combat sports, you see shit like that. Actually, you see it a lot in the YouTuber boxing thing. Like, there's a lot of like coaches who are like getting little pieces on the back. I heard this wild story the other day. Someone, I don't even want to say who it was, but someone was being manipulated. Someone who maybe is easily manipulated. And it was like, oh, this guy will take 50% of your thing as your manager or whatever. It's insane. But yeah, no, I think it's a tough one because certainly if I was the coach of a boxer and that boxer gave me $350,000, I wouldn't be heartbroken about it.
I would be.
Okay.
I don't think so. I've got to see a little bit of how these guys live for the most part. Some of these trainers, like on the higher end of things, it ain't a ton of money for them either. I mean, $350,000 is a decent little chunk of change, and I'm sure he's made money with Errol throughout. But I would guarantee he's invested a career's worth, like a real career's worth, in a full-time job or a full-time career, because I can't see him working some kind of job for the last 20 years that was overly demanding of his time, assuming he's got kids too and stuff like that. So he's probably worked a very basic 8-hour-a-day job, if any, for the past however many years. If he's training Errol Spence, and for a long time it was just Spence. It seemed like he was like James was just a one guy trainer. Now recently, now that he's like more of a marquee trainer, he's gotten some more fighters, so he's getting a percentage of all these other guys' purses. But having said that, the traditional deal is 10% to your trainer. It's like 10% to your trainer, whatever percentage, I think like 20% to your promoter. There's like a 2% you'd put to the side for your cut person. And then there's probably something you'd give the corner, or the trainer pays the corner. I don't know how that really works, but for you to get up to the biggest fight of your career, and then all of a sudden turn around and say, Al, and allegedly we're assuming Al Heyman, said 350,000 is suffice, right? So that's like a 90% drop in what the fuck it was he was supposed to make.
Yeah, I heard it was Weird Al Yankovic, actually.
It was weird. Well, yeah, so this was after, this is Weird Al Yankovic of Beat It fame. But yeah, so no, I just think it's a raw fucking deal. And I've seen these fighters do this. It's not only Errol Spence. I've seen multiple fighters do this. Fuck trainers over right when the bag gets big enough to where the trainer can kind of say, okay, it's like retirement money. I can retire off of this, as opposed to like I can buy not even a house in New Jersey for $350K. You got to imagine that if he's with him for like 10 years, but for the past 10 years, early on he wasn't making shit. When it was a $10,000 purse, a $15,000 purse, a $20,000 purse, I'm sure, and not to mention all the guys that Derrick James has trained that he didn't make anything off of. Amateurs, people that were good, that showed some promise, that lost, people that quit, people that, so it's kind of like being like a, I don't know, if somebody that does like antiquing or something like that, you might only get like one score in your life, if you ever do. That's going to be like something that, boom, that puts you over the top. And then somebody all of a sudden comes around and says, oh, no, sorry, fuck that. We're going to have to take that back. We're going to have to take 90%
Well, I mean,
of it back.
But at the same time, a trainer does not have the same limitations on their career that a boxer does. Like, you could be a trainer. I mean, how old is fucking Freddie Roach?
Very old and very sickly.
Yeah, but he's still like training people and still getting those little percentages on the side, and also like he's more coherent than most of today's boxers too. But he has that. You have the longevity when you're a coach. You can be coaching into your 60s, your 70s if you want to be, and so you have much more opportunities for these big paydays. And he's going to get big paydays. And like, look, it comes down to what's on the paper. What has he signed with Errol Spence, and what does it say? And if it says you get 10% of the entire take, then yeah, he's owed $2.5 million. If it says you get 10% of the fight night guarantee, then you get your $350K and go on your way then if you're upset about it.
Well, I mean, I would assume they're definitely going on their way, and right now they're going through litigation, and it seems like it's not going to be something that they will repair anytime soon. But it's for sure, if you are Derrick James, you will have more fighters, you'll have more purses, you'll have more opportunity for that. And yeah, on some level, I mean, I guess the whole reason why Errol is fucking him over is because they don't have anything in writing. And it's probably the same reason why the advice that he took from this guy named Al,
Weird Al
Yankovic, who's also in boxing now. It's also probably why he knew that made sense. If he's saying, okay, well, it's only off the guarantee, they lowball the guarantee, so then Spence can take the lower guarantee and break everybody off their percentage based on that. But it's dirty, it's rotten bullshit. And you know what? If we're going to say that all that matters is what's on writing, I never want to hear that fighters need to get paid more money. I never want to hear that fighters are getting a raw deal. I never want to hear Dana needs to pay these guys more because they're blood and guts warriors. I never want to hear any of that fucking bullshit, because if we're doing it's by the book, whatever's by the book, then it's by the book. Then fuck it, right? So because the truth is that these guys, while they are like, I get whatever you want to call it, while they are like blood and guts warriors, while they are they've got the heart of a lion, while they fight for us, they do all this bullshit for us, they are also, in a lot of cases, fucking scumbags. A lot of these fighters, the scum of the fucking earth. And I mean this to my core, the scum of the fucking earth. They don't give a fuck about nobody. You could look at it in this case just like that with Errol Spence. Didn't give a fuck. Danny Jacobs and Andre Rozier. That was supposed to be like a father, son, uncle fucking situation. Jacobs didn't give a fuck when it was time to pay the guy. So I don't want to hear that Dana's got to pay these guys. I don't want to hear that that fucking Top Rank is lowballing. I don't want to hear about none of that shit, because when given the opportunity to fuck somebody else over, these fighters will do it every single day of the week. You could use the logic that, oh, well, they, they're the ones that are taking the ass whooping. Okay, fine. Nobody told you have to fucking fight for a living. It's you that was born with the fucking genetic makeup of somebody that's got a bag of rocks in his fucking head, scrambled eggs in his fucking head, that you don't got nothing else going on. You chose to fight in the ring. You're a pit fighter, so fight and shut the fuck up. So that's where I stand on that. They can't complain no more. That's it.
Yeah, no, I feel you, homie, and I think, I think it's hard to argue that. Obviously, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's like if you're getting 25 mil, break off $1 mil of that for your coach. Come on. I mean, after tax, 25 mil probably turns into 12.
Whatever, bro. To me, it's crazy. To me, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You pick up a $25 million bag. This is your guy. You've been with him forever. I get it that maybe like because you took the ass whooping, you're thinking like, okay, well, I'll never get another one of those again. So I need to like kind of protect this. But you probably don't get there without Derrick James. I would think.
No, definitely not.
Unless you're like, well, he could be deluded to the point to where he thinks like, I was an Olympian level athlete before I got with Derrick James. And I would have been just about fine with any other top level trainer. He could be thinking that. But then if that's the case, then why even have, you get what I'm saying? Like what, like, so then just train with anybody. Yeah. Train with fucking Donagh Corbin. Train with fucking Samuel Hyde.
And hey, by the way, as a cornerman in Misfits Boxing, I have a 100% first round knockout rate.
One of the best in the business. Donagh Corby. In terms of trainers, guys, if you really want to get right, you really want to get in shape, you really want to get ready to fucking win, join Team Corby. Subscribe to the show. Yep. Watch Want to Fight about it. You'll learn a lot here. You got nothing to lose.
No, yeah, you learn. If you need to know X's and O's, you will learn it on this show. We love the X's and O's.
We love X's and O's. We love X's and hoes too, because we got a lot of them. We got a lot of X's, and a lot of them are fucking hoes. Ask my my ex-wife. Oh, okay, we got the breakdown there. But yeah, real scumbag behavior from Errol. Did not like it one fucking bit. Not one bit. So I guess I'll get into the next bit. I thought this was very, very cute, Donagh.